Hello and welcome back to the Beautiful Things channel. So by the time you're watching this video, the news will have been announced. BTHQ, as you know it, is no more, or is going to be no more. So this is currently early September when I'm recording this, 2023. You're going to be watching this at some point in November. So quite a long way away just yet, but I wanted to document the process so that perhaps those of you who were struggling to understand my decisions would be able to understand it a little bit better, but also for those of you who perhaps are thinking about starting a creative business, or perhaps already have a creative business and are starting to have doubts or thoughts that mean you may be considering doing a similar thing to me. You might just be interested in seeing how my brain's ticked, how it's come to these decisions, and also the work that's gone on behind the scenes that you guys just won't have seen. We've been secret squirreling for the last sort of 2 months. As of today, filming this, I'm just planning that secret squirreling, but by the time you're watching this, all of that will have happened. So I thought it would be good and interesting for you if I came on and documented the process. So let me tell you where I'm at right now. So as I said, it's early September. I can't even remember the date, the 12th or 13th I think today. And it was probably about 5 or 6 days ago that I made the decision that I was going to close the doors of BTHQ. It has been a long time coming. We made some big changes a year or so ago, two which I absolutely do not regret in the slightest. The first, taking on our lovely studio manager Sandra. She has been fantastic and has really done well this past year. I think she's kept our head above water, if I'm honest. Really helped with working with our existing customers and clients, coming up with new ideas, fresh energy, to encourage people to join our community. So I don't regret that in the slightest. The other one, it wasn't a big change, but it was a big investment. We invested in Colin, our A0 printer. And again, I don't regret having him for 1 second. He's actually been fantastic. Not only has he paid his way over the last year, but he's enabled myself and Sandra to make so much more than we would have done previously. To be able to see a pattern come online and go, oh, I really like that, buy it, print it, shop our own shop for fabrics and make something sometimes within 24 hours has been really good, and it's meant that I've made a lot more things than I probably would have done. So 2 big changes. However, what has happened is that, not just because of the cost of living crisis. Why have all the lights gone out? Sorry, I backtrack, slightly scary. We had a little fire in here the other week and it was all to do with the lights. So when they suddenly go out, I'm going to freak out. Anyway, where was I? Yes, why we've made these decisions. So over the past probably 2 years, I can hand on heart say that we haven't ever really picked up the memento of people coming to classes again. Off the back of COVID. Obviously we had to close for a long period of time, and initially when we first reopened we were really quite busy, and I think that was because people were just desperate to get back into everyday life again, desperate to do things, desperate to meet people and get out. So we did have an influx of customers coming in for classes. But it didn't last all that long. If I'm entirely honest, I think people then just became so busy being busy again, that they had so much on. They were catching up on so many things that they hadn't been able to do over the last couple of years, that they then weren't able to find the time for themselves to be able to come along to class. And I noticed a big decline in the number of people coming in and using the studio space. Then comes cost of living. Let's be honest, we've all noticed it. I've really noticed it. My weekly shop used to cost me about £100. Now it costs me anywhere from £140 to £150. It makes a big difference. It's a couple of £100 a month that I could be spending on other things. And I know that I'm not alone in that. I'm very fortunate in that my gas prices and my electric prices are pretty good. I haven't been scared or frightened that I can't pay my utility bills, but I know that many of you are in a position where that is something that's really a problem as well. And I've noticed even the customers who I've had for a long time who don't seem to worry necessarily about what they spend on their creative pursuits, even they have started to come to less classes and spend less money. And I've noticed a big drop in sales in our shop as well. And at the end of the day, we can't keep going like that. It's just not practical. We have a lot of overheads at the studio, and although the business is making money, and I say the business as in Beautiful Things is making money, at the moment that money is going on paying the overheads of the studio, paying salaries, paying insurances, internet, telephone, so many other things, keeping stock on the shelves. And I personally haven't taken a penny out of my business this year, and I can't carry on like that. So that is why we have come to this decision. The business is still good, it's still strong. We have a great sewing club, we have a fantastic resource, our online community. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Another thing that's happened in the world is concrete, which means my daughter's school is a little bit broken, so she's home educating again. It's almost as if we are back in lockdown. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, I haven't taken a bean from the business. And yes, the business is as a whole bringing in a good income. We have a great online community. We have our fantastic sewing club. We have obviously our online products, our courses, and some stock, although say sales from that have gone down quite a lot. But there is still a way to make an income from the business. So Beautiful Things is going nowhere. Do not worry. It is still there. Your community is still there. The sewing club is still there. The online resources is still there. If anything, that side of the business is going to get bigger and better in 2024. So it is my intention to close the physical premises in Brentwood. You will have heard that by now. This is now mid-November, so we will probably be having a really big sale at some point to sell off our stock. We'll be selling some of our machines as well, which will be available to you, and we'll be having a huge clear out. In fact, we will have had the huge clear out. That is happening now, right now as I record this, but we will have put together a whole load of fantastic crafty bits and bobs, and we'll be having a crafty jumble sale of sorts so that you can come along and pick up a bargain. We decided to keep going until the end of the year because Christmas is always a good time for us at the studio. We've already got loads of fantastic Christmas workshops booked in, which you've booked for, which is really good. So the studio will be used, which will be lovely because it's been a little bit quiet recently. It's a nice time for everyone to come together. You can get your gifts, you can come down, you can make your Christmas presents. So nothing is going to change physically at BTHQ until the end of December. So do come and make the most of it. If you're watching this video, we've probably got about 6 weeks left. You can come down and enjoy the studio. Come and enjoy a Christmas workshop with us. Come down and get your Christmas gifts, or help me out, clear some of my space, because what you see behind me is my home studio, and I'm very fortunate to have a great space here in my home. What you can see is just half of it. The other half of it currently, if I spin you around, is full of my partner's bits and bobs. So it is very, very full right now. And another reason why I wanted to document this process is that I wanted to share with you the next 6 to 8 weeks for me now. The bit that you're not going to see, because I'm not going to be publicly announcing this closure of the premises until November, and I wanted to explain to you my reasons behind that as well. So let's start with that, shall we? I'm aware this video might be incredibly waffly, by the way, but you know me, I like to be honest about life. So I have to give 3 months notice on my current lease. I would love to be able to keep my studio open until the end of December, and then I would like a month from that date where we're no longer doing classes, but we can wind things down. We can spend that month moving furniture that we want to move into this premises. And sorry, I'm being interrupted again. Completely lost my train of thought. So anyway, I have to give 3 months notice on my current lease. I want to have the month of January to allow me to move furniture out of BTHQ into my home studio. The plan is to set this studio space up so it is available for me to create new content for you, to create new online courses, new sewing club courses. I also am thinking about possibly doing a little bit more making to sell, going back to doing the odd craft fair. And I will still do a small amount of teaching. Because I live where I live, it's not actually practical to be doing that all the time. Obviously, I live in a residential area, and I don't have the opportunity for people to be able to park freely like I do at BTHQ. But it is still my intention to run occasional one-day intensive sewing courses, a couple of evening crochet courses, and possibly weekend crochet courses. And I will still offer occasional one-to-one tuition, such as get to know your sewing machine, that kind of thing. There won't be a huge amount of tuition, but possibly I might even go out and do some tuition at people's homes. I haven't quite decided yet, but I know there will still be an element of tuition available. And at Christmas time, again, there's nothing to stop me. I've got sorry, I've got a nice space where I could still have mandala classes, for instance. I could still have Angie come in and teach those for us, but I just have to be thoughtful and mindful about parking and my neighbours and other people living in the area. So teaching is not going to be a big thing at all. Certainly not something I'm going to be doing a great deal of, not from home anyway, but it will be more about producing online content, keeping the Beautiful Things community going, encouraging you to improve your me time, do more sewing, do more crafting, knitting, crochet, whatever floats your boat. And I really am going to up my game and get my YouTube back up and running again properly, where I post a video at least once a week. That is my plan. All that being said, should mean that the income that comes into the business is similar to what we have currently, but without the overheads of an actual physical space where the general public can come and go. It just releases so much of a weight off my shoulders, and it actually means that I can earn some money doing what I love, which is the main plan. For those of you who are wondering, Sandra is staying with me until at least the end of January, and then after that time we're going to be working on a day-by-day basis. I would love to be able to still support her and still have her as part of the team, and she's a fantastic member of the team, so we're sorting that out amongst ourselves, so don't worry. She's still a very, very important part of the Beautiful Things team, and we've even got some ideas for doing some classes and some activities towards the north of Essex, which will please those of you who perhaps travel down to us from the north to the south. So we want to have that January period so that we can move in here, we can move out of there, people can still come to the studio. We'll probably be selling off a lot of our machines, we'll be selling off a lot of our furniture, we'll be selling off some cutting tables, all that kind of thing. So it means people who are local can come down and pick those up. I'm sure we'll have loads of stuff on Facebook Marketplace and FreeCycle, so people will be coming and going, and I really want to have that month of January as a really good opportunity to get in here, get settled in here, get out of there. I'm going to have to do a little bit of redecorating, which Sandra's lovely Brian will come and do for me, hopefully, so that I can hand the keys back at the end of January. So because I have to give 3 months notice, I don't want to give my notice until 3 months before I want to leave. But if I was to give it now, in the middle of September, I always risk my landlord saying, actually, do you know what, Claire, that's fine. 3 months is great, and that means I have to be out before the end of December, which I don't want to do. I want to keep my premises. I know for a fact that that studio will get snapped up like that, and so therefore he's probably got people who are itching to get in there. So if I hand my notice in now, then who knows what will happen. So I'm playing it safe. So the end of October, October 31st, is when I will be handing my notice in, and then obviously I shall be making the announcement, which you have already heard, probably sometime towards the beginning of November to the middle of November. So yeah, I wanted to document the process. So I've had to do a lot of planning this week. I've been talking with Sandra about timelines for things. We've already made a start at BTHQ of getting rid of things that we know right now we do not want and we do not need. So anything that we don't need for classes in future, between now and December, anything that's of no use to me here, we're starting to get rid of. So we're starting to either sell things or give things away on FreeCycle Marketplace via our Facebook page. You might remember, if you remember back to social media from now, so September time, we were having a big tidy up, we were having a big declutter. I'm actually filming this the day that I made my time-lapse reel of tidying up my home studio. So here in person, I'm trying to get rid of all the things that I know I don't want. In BTHQ, we're trying to get rid of all the things that we know we don't want. And so that means that once you see this video and you know that the announcement has been made, we can then start to really be open about, right, this is going, we don't need this anymore, this is going, we don't need this anymore. And it's not going to look like we're just clearing out. Because if we were to have a massive clear out now and you didn't know why we were having that massive clear out, you'd start to get a bit suspicious. So we're just using it as a spring clean, autumn, tidy up, declutter, so that we can get ourselves ready and refreshed for the Christmas period. And I think having that time to do it slowly is going to mean that we do it properly, and it should be nice and smooth, a fairly easy process. I've had to give my partner notice on the other half of this building, so he's got until the end of December to find somewhere else to store his stuff. We're looking at potentially properly sorting out our garage space so that it's nice and dry and watertight and really secure. We're looking at getting cupboards and things built inside the house. There's lots of different options. He's looking at external storage solutions, but he's been given notice sounds terrible already, so he knows the plan, because I want to, this is a fairly decent sized space, and at the moment I've got enough space to film, I've got enough space to do my own sewing, I've got enough space to cut out and store things, but I haven't got enough space. I want to keep Colin He's staying, so we can still offer the A0 printing and I can still use it. So Colin needs to come in here. I'm obviously going to have to store a lot of materials that I'm keeping from mainstream BTHQ, so they're going to need to find a home, and I'm going to want to have a couple more desk spaces, so that when I do teach from home I've got an additional desk space too. So I am going to use the whole of this room. I also need to plan things like heating. At the moment this isn't heated down here. It doesn't have it has an electricity supply, but it doesn't have a gas supply, so I couldn't have radiators put in down here, so I need to look at some form of heating. Again, something that's not going to be relatively cost effective, that isn't going to take too much space. So there's loads of things that I've got to research. I've got to spend this time researching, when do I need to give notice on my telephone line? Are they going to just cut me off straight away, or can they cut me off at a certain date? How much notice do I need to give my card machine provider? Do I want to give notice to my card machine provider? Do I keep it? Because I'm still going to be taking bookings and going and doing craft fairs and sales and things, so actually having it is a useful thing. However, it costs money per month. Are there cheaper alternatives? All of these things I'm having to look at now. I'm having to look at changing payroll contracts, changing insurance. I'm still going to need insurance. I'm still going to need public liability. I'm still going to need to insure my machines. I'm still going to need to insure my materials. But I'm not going to need anywhere near as much insurance as I had in a big premises like BTHQ. And I'm probably still going to refer to this place as BTHQ, because it will be BTHQ, albeit BTHQ Mini or BTHQ Home or something along those lines. It's still the premise, it's still my office, it's still my workplace. So yeah, there's a lot of planning to do, there's a lot of thinking to do, and I realise I've been waffling for absolutely ages. So I think what I'm going to do is edit this video down a little bit and upload it as video number 1 in a series of how I came to the decision to close my business premises, and then I will record some more bits and bobs, a bit like the old BTHQ banter videos, actually from BTHQ. I'll try and take the camera there, and over the next 6 weeks before I make the grand announcement, I will record bits and bobs when it's just me and Sandra in the building. I have told Sandra, obviously she's fully aware, my partner knows, my kids still don't know, which is actually another reason why being interrupted just now really hard, because I haven't told them yet. I haven't even told my parents yet. I'm going over at the weekend and I will let them know. And I haven't told Elspeth yet. I'm having lunch with Elspeth on Sunday, so I'm planning on telling her then too. And I know for a fact that they are all going to come down on me like a ton of bricks. Don't be so ridiculous, you shouldn't do it, but why go to work for absolutely no financial return? You wouldn't do it, would you? And I can no longer afford to do it. I am in a fortunate position where I do own my home. I am in a fortunate position where being separated, my children are looked out for, but I have no personal income, and that's not good, and I can't continue to live that way. So I'm hoping they will understand, although I know that they will all be very upset. And I know a lot of you will be very upset by the prospect of not being able to come to BTHQ as well. But I'm hoping that you'll stick with it, because a lot of the elements of the things that you enjoy about BTHQ we can do virtually. And I have grand plans to continue to still do my retreat. I will still put on classes either here, or I'll hire a hall, or they'll be somewhere else, but I will still put on classes. There will still be opportunities for you to get together in person, because I can't just lock myself away in here on my own either. I think I'd go stir crazy. So there will still be opportunities for us to craft together in person. But I do have such a big online community that there is no reason why that just can't get bigger and better. And I hope you'll stick with me through the process and support me as much as you can. And remember that that does not have to be financially. You can support me in the best ways simply by sharing my content, liking my content, subscribing to my channel, and just talking to people when you're out and about. If you find someone who wants to learn to sew or crochet or knit, or who's creative and is looking to find and make new friends, then just send them my way. And that actually sometimes is worth more than actual money, because it's growing and building the Beautiful Things community, which is why I do what I do, as well as hopefully earning a living. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Onwards and upwards to a new fresh start for Beautiful Things in 2024. But I'm sure you'll be seeing a couple more videos in the run up to Christmas as things probably go slightly cray cray at the studio. I'll see you soon. Bye.